The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council was filled with delegates from across the stars. Ambassador Kelth stood at the center platform, his tall figure casting shadows under the bright lights. He held a data tablet in his scaled hands and cleared his throat. "We gather today for an important matter," Kelth announced. "It has been 500 years since we last heard from the humans of Earth." The chamber grew quiet. Every species present knew what this meant. Historian Vraxa stepped forward, her gentle voice echoing through the hall. She was old, even for her species, and she had studied human culture for most of her life. "I have reviewed all the records," she said sadly. "Earth is silent. Their colonies are empty. We have sent many ships to check and they all report the same thing. No signs of life. No signals. Nothing." A hologram appeared above them, showing a planet covered in gray ash and dead oceans. This was Earth, once a beautiful blue world, now a tomb. Council leader Thrain raised one of his 6 arms. "Then we must make it official. Does anyone object to declaring humanity extinct?" No one spoke. "Very well," Thrain said. "Let the records show that on this day humanity is declared extinct. They survived for only 12,000 years. A brief moment in the history of the galaxy." Kelth pulled up more images. They showed what had happened 5 centuries ago. A massive wave of deadly radiation had swept through the solar system without warning. Scientists called it a gamma-ray burst. Earth had no time to prepare, no way to defend itself. The atmosphere burned away in hours. Millions died instantly. The rest died slowly as their world turned cold and dark. "We found their final messages," Vraxa said, her voice breaking. "They knew they were dying. They asked us to remember them. They asked us to tell their stories." But the Council had more practical matters to discuss. Earth's solar system was rich with resources. The asteroid belt held precious metals. Mars had underground water deposits. The moons of Jupiter had fuel that ships needed. "The Zytharian Empire claims the Sol system for mining operations," Kelth declared. "We will extract what is useful and catalog the rest." Other species quickly claimed humanity's former colonies and trade routes. The VRYN took control of shipping lanes that humans had discovered. The Krell claimed 3 colony worlds that had good farming land. Within an hour, everything humanity had built was divided up and reassigned. Vraxa protested weakly. "Should we not preserve something? A museum perhaps? To honor what they were." "Of course," Thrain agreed. "We will build a monument in the Grand Archive. Future generations will know that humans once lived among the stars." The meeting ended and the delegates returned to their ships. They felt a moment of sadness, but it passed quickly. Species went extinct sometimes. It was the way of the universe. The strong survived and the weak disappeared. Humanity had simply been unlucky. But far away beyond the edges of mapped space, something moved in the darkness. Captain Miho stood on the bridge of a massive warship hidden inside a nebula. The clouds of gas and dust hid his fleet from every sensor in the galaxy. He watched the Council's broadcast with cold eyes. "They divided up our home," said Commander Jaiwan, standing beside him. Her voice was angry. "They're going to mine Earth like it's just another rock." Miho said nothing for a long moment. Through the viewport behind him, 6 planets glowed with city lights. Billions of humans lived on those worlds. They had been born here in this hidden place, but they all knew the stories. They all knew about Earth. About the home their ancestors had fled. "Let them think we're dead," Miho finally said. "Let them think they've won." "How much longer do we wait?" Jaiwan asked. Miho's hand tightened on the railing. "Not much longer. We've been preparing for 500 years. Soon we go home. And when we do, the galaxy will learn that you can't kill humanity. We survive. We always survive." In the darkness of the nebula, 1,000 ships waited silently. Humanity was about to return. 6 months had passed since the Council declared humanity extinct. Ambassador Kelth was reviewing mining reports from the Sol system when his assistant rushed into his office. "Sir, we have a problem," the young Zytharian said, his voice shaking. 3 of our mining ships have disappeared." Kelth looked up sharply. "Disappeared? What do you mean?" "They were working in the outer asteroid belt. They sent a distress signal about unknown contacts, then nothing. When we sent rescue ships, they found no wreckage. Just empty space." Kelth frowned. Pirates sometimes operated in remote areas, but they usually left debris behind. This was different. "Send more ships. Double the security patrols." But the disappearances continued. Over the next 2 months, 7 more Zytharian vessels vanished without a trace. And it was not just happening in the Sol system. Historian Vraxa received an urgent message from a VRNN trading convoy. She opened the transmission and saw a captain's frightened face. "We were attacked by pirates near the Centauri route," the captain reported. "4 ships. They had us surrounded. We thought we were dead." He paused, his expression confused. Then something else arrived. A ship we did not recognize. It was faster than anything I have ever seen. It destroyed all 4 pirate vessels in less than a minute. "Did you identify the ship?" Vraxa asked. "That is the strange part," the captain said. "Before it jumped away we got a scan of its hull. There was writing on the side. Old Earth language. English. We checked the databases. The word said 'Remember Terra.'" Vraxa felt her blood run cold. "That is impossible." "I know what I saw," the captain insisted. Reports like this began flooding in from across Council space. Strange ships appearing and disappearing. Unknown engine signatures. Technology that did not match any known species. And always, when survivors got close enough to see, there were hints of human design. A hull shape that looked like old Earth destroyers. Weapon systems similar to human railguns. Text in English. The council held an emergency session. The chamber was tense with accusations and fear. "The Krell are building secret weapons," one delegate shouted. "These mystery ships are yours." "Lies," the Krell representative roared back. "The VRYN are behind this. They want to start a war." Thrain raised his arms for silence. "Enough. We need answers, not accusations." He turned to Vraxa. "You have studied humanity more than anyone. Could they have survived?" Every eye in the chamber turned to the historian. Vraxa hesitated. Everything she knew said it was impossible. The radiation burst had been too powerful. Earth had been surveyed dozens of times. There were no humans left. But these reports, these ships, that writing. "I do not know," she admitted quietly. "But I think we need to investigate." "I will lead the investigation team," Kelth volunteered. He did not believe humans could have survived, but he wanted answers about who was operating in his territory. Thrain nodded. "Take a full science vessel. Vraxa will go with you. Find out what is happening." 3 weeks later, Kelth's investigation fleet was deep in uncharted space, following the trail of strange ship signatures. They were near the edge of the galactic arm, far from any inhabited worlds. "Sir," the sensor operator called out. "We have a contact. One ship. It just appeared on our scopes." "From where?" Kelth demanded. "I do not know, sir. It was not there and then it was. No jump signature. No engine flare. It just appeared." The ship was larger than their science vessel. Its design was unfamiliar but somehow familiar at the same time. Kelth had seen something like it before in old historical files. A communication channel opened. A voice spoke in perfect galactic standard, but with an accent that had not been heard in 500 years. "Zytharian vessel, this is Captain Miho of the United Human Space Force. You are a long way from home. We need to talk." Vraxa gasped. Kelth's hands gripped his chair. Humanity was not extinct. They had returned. Captain Miho's face appeared on the view screen. He was young, perhaps 30 years old, with dark hair and steady eyes that showed no fear. Kelth stared at him in disbelief. "This is impossible," Kelth whispered. "You should be dead." "We get that a lot," Miho replied calmly. "Permission to come aboard? We have much to discuss." An hour later, Miho stood in the conference room with Kelth and Vraxa. The historian could not stop staring at him. A living human. After 500 years. "How?" Vraxa finally asked. "How did you survive?" Miho pulled up a holographic display. It showed Earth as it had been 5 centuries ago. "We had 72 hours warning. Our deep space sensors detected the gamma ray burst before it hit. Not much time but enough." "Enough for what?" Kelth demanded. "Enough to save who we could," Miho said quietly. His eyes grew distant. "We had 300 generation ships under construction. They were supposed to take 50 more years to complete. We had 72 hours. He paused. "We made a choice. Launch what we had or everyone dies." The hologram showed massive ships lifting off from Earth, Mars, and the colony worlds. Millions of people cramming into vessels that were not ready. Families torn apart as they decided who would go and who would stay. "We saved 50 million people," Miho continued. "Out of 12 billion. The rest stayed behind. Someone had to maintain the launch sites until the last ship was away. Someone had to make sure the children got on board first." Vraxa felt tears forming. "Where did you go?" "As far as we could," Miho said. He changed the display to show a massive nebula. The Veil of Acheron. Your people charted it but never explored it. Too much interference for sensors. Perfect place to hide. Hide. Keltha's voice was sharp. Why hide? Why not call for help? Miho's expression hardened. Because we sent distress signals. For 3 days while Earth was dying, we screamed for help into the void. No one came. The council was having a trade dispute that week, remember? Too busy arguing about shipping taxes to answer our calls. The words hit like a physical blow. Kelth remembered. There had been a crisis that year. Economic sanctions. Threats of war. The council had ignored all other matters for weeks. We died alone, Miho said coldly. So we decided to live alone. He showed them what came next. The generation ships arriving in the nebula. 50 million frightened, angry survivors. They built homes on barren rocks. They started farms and underground caverns. Children were born who had never seen Earth. 500 years, Miho said. 20 generations. We worked. We built. We survived. The hologram changed to show something incredible. 6 planets, all glowing with lights. Cities that stretched for hundreds of miles. Orbital stations. Shipyards. A civilization. 6 billion people now, Miho said with pride. We terraformed dead worlds. We created new technologies. We had to because we had nothing else. No allies. No trade partners. Just ourselves and our determination. Vraxa stood up, her legs shaking. I want to see it. Please, let me see what you have built. Miho nodded. That is why I am here. You need to see. The council needs to understand what is coming. 3 days later, Kelth and Vraxa stood on the surface of New Terra, humanity's capital world. They could not believe their eyes. The city before them was more advanced than anything in council space. Buildings that seemed to grow from the ground itself. Ships that moved without visible engines. Technology that should not exist. You did all this alone? Kelth asked in wonder. We had no choice, said High Chancellor Doyen, an older man with gray hair and tired eyes. The galaxy left us to die. So we learned to thrive without the galaxy. What do you want? Vraxa asked softly. Doyen's expression grew cold. We want what is ours. We want Earth. We want our solar system. We want the galaxy to know that humanity is not extinct. We are here. We are strong. And we are coming home. The Galactic Council chamber erupted in chaos. Delegates shouted over each other, some in fear, others in anger. High Chancellor Doyen stood calmly at the center platform, waiting for the noise to die down. Order. Thrain commanded, his 6 arms raised. Let the humans speak. Doyen bowed respectfully. Thank you, Council Leader. Humanity formally requests readmission to the Galactic Council. We also request the immediate return of the Sol System and all territories that belonged to us before the Cataclysm. Kelth jumped to his feet. Impossible. The Zytharian Empire has legal claim to Sol. We have invested billions in mining operations there. We will not simply abandon it. Legal claim? Doyen's voice remained calm, but his eyes flashed with anger. You claimed a graveyard. Our graveyard. Where billions of our people died while you ignored their cries for help. The chamber fell silent. Vraxa spoke up, her voice gentle. The humans have a right to their homeworld. We must find a peaceful solution. I agree, said the Krell delegate. Let them have their dead planet. What use is it anyway? What use? Keltha's voice rose. There are resources worth trillions. Infrastructure we built. Mining stations, refineries, orbital platforms. You expect us to just walk away? Doyen pulled up a holographic display. It showed the moon, Earth's ancient satellite. The surface was scarred with massive strip mines. Mountains had been carved away. This is what you did to our moon. And this. The image changed to show Mars. Huge drilling operations covered the red planet. You turned our solar system into a quarry. That was legal salvage, Kelth insisted. You were declared extinct. We were never extinct, Doyen said quietly. We were just waiting. And now we are done waiting. You have 30 days to evacuate Sol System peacefully. After that, we will remove you by force. You dare threaten us? Kelth stood, his full height towering over the human. The Zytharian fleet is the 3rd largest in the galaxy. You are refugees with stolen technology. You cannot win. Doyen smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. We survived 500 years alone in the dark. We built 6 worlds from nothing. Do you really think we are not ready for war? The council voted. Some species supported humanity's return. Others sided with the Zytharians. The vote was split. No decision could be made. Thrain tried to negotiate. Perhaps a compromise? Shared access to the system? Financial compensation? No, Doyen said firmly. Earth is not for sale. It is our home. The only compromise is this: leave peacefully and we can be friends. Stay and we will move you ourselves. Kelf left the council that day furious. He returned to Zytharian space and spoke with his military commanders. Prepare the fleet. These humans need to learn their place. 3 weeks later, 200 Zytharian warships entered the Sol system. They were the pride of the Empire, equipped with the best weapons and shields. Admiral Tarek commanded from the flagship, confident in his superiority. Scan for human ships, he ordered. Nothing on sensors, sir, reported the scanning officer. Wait, contacts appearing. 30 ships. No, 50. No, they keep appearing. 100 contacts now. From behind the moon, from the asteroid belt, from seemingly empty space, human ships materialized. They were smaller than the Zytharian vessels, but there were many of them. Captain Miho's voice came over the open channel. Zytharian fleet, this is your final warning. Leave now or face the consequences. Admiral Tarek laughed. You are outnumbered 2 to 1. Surrender and we will be merciful. You did not ask the right question, Miho replied. You asked how many ships we have. You should have asked what our ships can do. The battle began. The Zytharian ships opened fire with their massive plasma cannons. But the human ships moved like nothing Tarek had ever seen. They dodged and weaved, appearing and disappearing in ways that should not be possible. Human railguns punched through Zytharian shields like they were paper. Missiles that split into dozens of smaller warheads overwhelmed defense systems. Within 10 minutes, 20 Zytharian ships were destroyed. Retreat. Tarek ordered in panic. All ships retreat. But Miho's voice stopped him. Admiral, take your surviving ships and go. Tell your empire what happened here today. Tell them that Earth belongs to humanity. Always has. Always will. The Zytharians fled. The council watched the battle recordings in stunned silence. Humanity had returned, and they were stronger than anyone imagined. 1 year had passed since the Battle of Sol. Captain Miho stood on the surface of Earth, breathing real air for the first time in his life. Around him, terraforming machines hummed as they worked to heal the scarred planet. The oceans were slowly returning to blue. Plants grew in carefully maintained zones that expanded each day. It is beautiful, said Commander Jaiwan, standing beside him. Even broken, it is beautiful. My grandfather told me stories, Miho said softly. But stories are not the same as seeing it. Feeling it. He knelt and touched the soil. This is home. Above them, ships from a dozen species moved through the sky. Human vessels patrolled alongside VRNN traders and even some Zytharian science ships. The galaxy had changed in 1 year. At the Galactic Council, High Chancellor Doyen addressed the assembly. The mood was different now. Delegates listened when he spoke. They had learned to respect humanity's strength. We did not return for revenge, Doyen said. We returned because this galaxy is our home too. We want to be part of the community again. We want to trade, to share knowledge, to build something better together. Ambassador Kelf stood. Many expected him to object, but his words surprised everyone. The Zytharian Empire formally apologizes for its actions in the Sol system. We should have returned it immediately. We allowed greed to cloud our judgment. He paused. Humanity has shown us that survival requires more than military strength. It requires honor. We wish to learn from them. Vraxa smiled. She had spent the past year writing a new book about humanity's incredible journey. It was already being read across the galaxy. I propose that humanity be granted full council membership, with all rights restored. The vote was unanimous, but the celebration was short-lived. 3 months later, alarms blared across council space. An unknown threat had appeared at the edge of the galaxy. Entire colonies went silent. Rescue ships found only empty worlds, stripped of all life and resources. The threat called themselves the Devourers. They were machines, vast and ancient, that consumed everything in their path. They had been sleeping in dark space for millions of years, and now they were awake and hungry. The council gathered in emergency session. Fear filled the chamber. The Krell delegate spoke first, his voice shaking. Our fleets cannot stop them. We lost 15 ships trying to slow just one of their vessels. They adapt to every weapon we use. We need to evacuate, another delegate suggested. Fall back to the core worlds and defend what we can. No, Miho said firmly. He had been promoted to admiral after the Battle of Seoul. Running will not save us. These machines will consume the entire galaxy if we let them. What do you suggest? Thrain asked. Even your advanced ships cannot face them alone. You are right, Miho agreed. But together we might have a chance. Humanity offers our technology to the Council. Our weapons, our shields, our engine designs. We share everything freely. The delegates looked at each other in surprise. Technology was the most valuable resource in the galaxy. No one shared it freely. Why would you do this? Kelth asked suspiciously. Because 500 years ago we learned a hard lesson, Doyen said, standing beside Miho. When we faced extinction we were alone. No one helped us. We survived but billions died. We will not let that happen to anyone else. Not ever again. Vraxa felt tears streaming down her face. Humanity could have returned seeking revenge. Instead they offer to save us. The Council accepted. Over the next 6 months, human engineers worked alongside alien scientists. They upgraded ships, shared weapon designs, and trained mixed crews. The galaxy had never worked together like this before. Admiral Miho commanded the Joint Defense Fleet. His crew included humans, Zytharians, Vrwinin, Krell, and species from across the galaxy. They stood together on the bridge of the flagship, united against a common enemy. All ships ready? Miho asked. Ready, Admiral, came the responses in a dozen different languages. The fleet jumped toward the Devourer threat. They would face them together. Win or lose, the galaxy was united for the first time in its history. And it was humanity, the species declared extinct, that had brought them together. Earth's sun rose over healing oceans, shining on a world reborn. Humanity had returned to reclaim the stars, not as conquerors but as guardians. They had been broken but never defeated. Scattered but never lost. They were home and they would protect it with everything they had.